Hello, everyone. I wanted to talk to you about your course culminating task since you have your first blog post for your novel due next week. I'm homesick today. I've got a bit of a rough voice, so bear with me. Okay, so by now, you've chosen your book. Hopefully, you've been reading. If not, you're going to have to get caught up quickly. You only have to have the first, I don't know, like fifth, a little bit of your book read for your first blog post. So it's really not that big a deal as long as you have your book. Um, in the activity one for unit 5 content, I talk about what you're doing for your culminating task. So let's look at this for a second. You're going to create a portfolio. Now, I don't know how familiar you guys are with portfolios. This is going to be a digital portfolio. And your portfolio contains a variety of written and media texts that you will create to explore your ideas about the way that you're interpreting a book that you've chosen to read. Okay, so maybe traditionally for course culminating tasks in English, you've read a book and written an essay. That's pretty typical, right? Um, but an essay is only one way to explore ideas. And so we want to give you the opportunity to explore your ideas in a variety of different ways. And these will all be using tasks that you've done at some point during the course. Okay, so we'll skip past the part about the books because you should have done that part already. And then assignment 1 was just to give me your book choice. Now let's talk about your blog posts. So you've written me a couple blog posts already. You know how to write a blog post, audience and purpose. Keep in mind that your blog is written for your peers, but also for me. So you can keep it fairly informal. And I go through the rest of the criteria, which is very similar to what we had in Unit 1, telling you how to write a blog post. Um, Same thing for comments. But then let's go to the assignment area, because this is where we talk about what you have to have in your individual blog posts. Okay. So I'm just going to scroll down for a bit. Here's blog post number 1, which is the one that's due next week. It was originally due this week, but I gave you a bit more time. We'll talk about this in a second. Here's blog post number 2, and you can check the calendar to see when this one is due. It's not that far away, so just keep it in mind. And you can see in blog post number 2, you're going to be applying archetypal literary theory. Blog post number 3, you're applying feminist or post-colonial literary theory. And blog post number 4, you're going to decide which theory provided you with the most insight. So remember that a literary theory is just a lens that we use to help us focus on specific aspects of a text. And depending on the text that you're reading, some lenses will focus on more interesting details than others. And so I want to give you the opportunity to practice applying different lenses so that you're basically adopting a different perspective each time you read your section of the book. You're not going to go back and reread it and apply a new lens. So you just sort of break up your book into chunks. And so if you look at blog post number 1, oops, what have I done here? Okay, I don't know. If you look at blog post number 1, it says, divide your book into 3 roughly equal chunks. You will write your first blog post after reading the first chunk of your book. Now, I'm not going to be evaluating what page you've read to, so you decide what's roughly equal. It's just that it's not going to be a very effective blog post if you've only read 2 pages, right? Okay. For your first blog post, you're going to use reader response to respond to what you've read so far. So I would strongly encourage you to reread, go through the PowerPoint, remind yourself what reader response is all about. I have given you, though, some questions as guidelines for some of the things that you could explore in your blog post. But please do not answer all of these questions, and don't write your blog post as a kind of question answer thing, because that's not what this is supposed to be. Here's your assessment criteria. Now, it does say on here 750 words or more. I am not a stickler for word count. And I'm going to change this so that it's 500 to 750. If you write more than that, I am not going to dock you marks, because obviously it already says 750 or more. But blog posts don't tend to be super long. If they're really long, then it's you're not going to want to read your classmates' posts, right? Let's be honest here. And the reason why you are doing your responses as blog posts and not just journal entries that you give to me is that I want you to see what other people are reading, what they think about what they're reading, and I want you to comment on them. And so please keep in mind that you are expected to also include comments. So the assessment criteria on here is important, because one of the things I noticed about your mini essays is that you guys hadn't read the assessment criteria. And that's a generalization. Some of you were totally fine, but there were many of you who just didn't read it. And so you missed important marks that you could have gotten. So please make sure you read this assessment criteria. Okay. And then I would encourage you to read ahead so that you know what you're going to be talking about in your future blog posts. Okay. That is what is due next week. And keep in mind that the due dates are all posted in the calendar. If I ever change a due date, it's just going to be me giving you more time. I wouldn't make anything due sooner, but you can use this calendar to plan ahead. So I'm just going to open it up. Here we go. So, sorry, I'm having trouble scrolling on my laptop here, and the little picture of my face is right in the way. It's annoying. Okay, so if I scroll, why can't I scroll down? I don't know. I've got like this pop-up blocking the part of the calendar that I need to see, but you can click here and see blog post number 1, applying reader response literary theory due. And it on here on the assessment criteria, it says approximately 500 words. So like that's I'm going to change it in the actual assignment page. So it says 500 to 750. Okay. Remember that you need to post your blog post on your own blog, but you also need to submit to me your link to your blog, and you also need to give me links for whose blog posts you've commented on. Now, because I'm asking you to share with me the links to your comments, I'm going to leave this Dropbox open for the entire week. So your blog post is due on Monday, but I'm going to give you the full week to get your comments up, okay? So this Dropbox will not close Monday night, but that doesn't mean that I don't expect you to have your blog post published by Monday night. Because if they're not up Monday night, you're not giving your classmates enough time to comment and read, and that's not acceptable. So the due date is Monday night, but you can have until the end of the week to get your comments posted, and then you can share that in the Dropbox. Okay? So hopefully that helps to clarify what the expectations are for your course culminating task blog posts. And I'll make another video a little bit later on talking about the portfolio expectations. Okay? So have a great day. I hope you're not sick like I am. And I hope that you are not feeling too overwhelmed and you're managing your time well.